Welcome to Session 1 in our training series for Florida 4-H Spin Club volunteers. Today we'll be discussing how young people learn in Florida 4-H, and more specifically, in your 4-H spin clubs. All 4-H educational programs are based around 3 national mission mandates: science, citizenship, and healthy living. As a volunteer, you have the opportunity to explore your interests under these broad program areas at the same time you are educating youth. Any educational program you provide should include the basic needs of youth. These basic needs are called the 4 essential elements of positive youth development. They are belonging, mastery, independence, and generosity. Youth must feel they belong to a group and are connected to peers and adults in that group. Most importantly, they must feel safe while participating in our activities. To achieve mastery, youth need to explore ideas and activities and learn skills in a non-threatening atmosphere. Independence is met when youth make decisions that affect their lives. Through generosity or helping others, youth connect to their communities and give back to others. To help meet the needs of youth in your club related to the essential elements, focus on activities and actions. To incorporate belonging, here are some activities you can try in your club. First, you can use introductions. Make sure each child has the opportunity to introduce himself or herself to the group. Give the group an opportunity to comment on points of interest within this introduction period. You can also use icebreakers. These are short 5 to 10 minute activities meant to break the ice before you get into the heart of your activity. Your 4-H agent can assist you with ideas for icebreakers. Another great way to foster a sense of belonging is through show and tell. Have members bring something that is important to them and allow them to share it with the group. If you do this, make sure the items members are sharing are related to the 4-H project area you are studying. Finally, you can use youth-adult work groups. As the name suggests, youth and adults are paired together in teams to have them solve problems or work through educational activities. Actions that you can use to help your club members feel a sense of belonging are using positive praise and making sure the learning environment is safe and welcoming. To incorporate mastery into your club meetings, make sure your activities are hands-on, progressively more in-depth, and achievable. Also, by allowing youth to work together, this gives them an opportunity to learn from each other. You can also use self and group reflection to help youth feel a sense of mastery. These reflections may be verbal or written. To incorporate independence, have youth assist the adults with the following: planning club activities, choosing club projects, and picking community service locations. Additionally, allowing youth to write letters soliciting donations to help with their club projects will help them feel a sense of independence. To incorporate generosity in your club experience, each 4-H club should include a service learning project. For example, youth in a pet club may have learned the need for proper pet nutrition during a club meeting, and then decide that their service learning project will be a pet food drive for a local animal shelter. Another way to instill a sense of generosity in your club youth is to provide opportunities to work and learn in groups. As they do so cooperatively, they will learn to work for the greater good. Additionally, you can have youth reflect on how someone else could be impacted by what they have learned. Again, these reflections can be shared verbally or written in a journal. Also, try to give youth positive affirmations when you see them doing something kind for someone else without being asked. This is a great way to foster generosity. Learning is the essential core of any 4-H program. Some examples of skills gained in 4-H educational programs are learning to effectively communicate with others and making new friends, goal setting, self-confidence, critical thinking, problem solving, and learning to work as a team and giving time to help others. Our shared goal is for young people to have opportunities to follow their passions and direct their own learning. Youth learn in different ways and in different places. As a volunteer, you play an important role in guiding those learning opportunities. .4-H uses a learn-by-doing approach to teaching called Experiential Learning. This method can be broken down into 3 easy-to-follow steps: do, reflect, apply. The first step of the experiential learning process is doing an activity, or the experience. For example, if you are leading a spin club on gardening, the experience could be observing, measuring, and recording growth of vegetables in the garden. Like all good scientists, youth would use a scientific journal to keep record of these observations. The second step is reflecting on the experience, including sharing and processing what happened. To continue with our gardening example, if you chose to have youth observe, measure, and record growth of different vegetables in the garden, during the reflection of the activity, also known as sharing and processing, you would ask youth to report their findings to the group. To share, have youth simply state what they recorded in their scientific journals. To process, we would ask youth to dig a little deeper and talk about the differences between observations and why those differences might exist. The third step is applying what was learned to new or different situations. To help youth apply any educational activity, we focus on generalizing and applying. To generalize our garden activity, we want to begin to draw the bigger picture for our youth. They may have spent 45 minutes to an hour observing, measuring, and recording vegetables in a garden. But we want to know what, if anything, they learned about themselves. What did they learn about the skills of measuring, observing, and recording? And how do these skills relate to the real world? To apply our activity, we want youth to make the connection, through guided questioning, that the skills they learned can be applied to other situations, beyond the garden. Questions like, how will these skills benefit you in the future? How will you act differently in the future as a result of this activity? These help guide youth to apply 4-H activities to the bigger picture. Do, reflect, apply. This complete process allows youth to learn new skills, cultivate new attitudes, and develop new ways of thinking. By incorporating experiential learning into the 4-H program, we can ensure that learning is self-directed and that young people can evaluate their own learning through processing and applying what they have learned. Today you learned about how to ensure a successful learning environment in your 4-H spin club. We always want to do our best to make sure our learning atmosphere includes belonging, mastery, independence, and generosity. As a club leader, you are responsible for the education of the youth in your club. Doing the activity is never the hard part. Remember, the long-term impacts of those great activities you plan happen when you take the time to reflect and apply with your youth. The key to any successful 4-H activity is time management. Talk to your 4-H agent about how the Spin Club educational plan can help you before you start working with youth. While we know plans always change, having something on paper will really benefit the organization of your club and help guide the direction of your Spin Club. Other resources to consider using before starting your club meetings are 4-H project pages, 4-H project books, and 4-H programs and events. You may consider aligning the end of your club with a district or state 4-H event. This will encourage participation in 4-H activities beyond the club level. Your 4-H agent can share more information with you about the age-appropriate events that are available for your youth. Thank you again for participating in Session 1 of the Florida 4-H Spin Leader Training, Learning and 4-H Spin Clubs. We look forward to having you as a volunteer with Florida 4-H.